What up? It's your boy T-Bear here in Reaction. Today is Films Friday, and time to do the another episode of react to another episode of What's Your Favorite Scary Movie from Dead Meat, which I will be doing mostly with the wrestlers. So last week the winner pick was Liv Morgan, and her talks about Child's Play. So that being said, the newest entry ended up being was Otis, best known from Heavy Machinery, and right now Alpha Academy, who talked about Chainsaw Massacre. So here's the lists. Here are the lists we have, the updated list. Xavier Woods on Hostel, The Bunny / Ali on Pupmaster, Otis on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nyla Rose on Night of the Living Dead 1990, and Malika Black, or aka Alistair Black, on Aliens. So with a landslide, with a victory of 48%. Today we're going to check out Ali, but the Bunny, aka Ali, on Puppet Master. You know, Ali, who's currently on the shelf right now due to injuries. But best known for her time at AEW, but she's very well known her time at Impact as Ali, well as regular Ali or Dark Ali. Either way, she'll talk about Pupmaster. She actually talked about the whole franchise. Now, I think I only saw one Puppet Master, but either way, I'm always like to indulge in movies that I did, and maybe I end up watching it myself. Though I know some folks say, "Oh, I should watch before doing this," but no, I'd rather get the gist of it though, and still gonna be a good conversation, even with Event Horizon. When I saw it one time, it was still a good conversation as well too. So other than that, let's check out the Bunny, aka Ali, on Pupmaster Franchise with What's Your Scary Movie. Let's get it.
What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome back to What's Your Favorite Scary Movie, where I talk to people about their favorite horror movie. Today's guest is from AEW, The Bunny, aka Ali. Hey, Ali.
Hi, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited because I got your list of potential favorite horror movies to talk about, and the first one on there was A Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was like, oh, we'll probably do that. But then at the bottom of the list, it said the Puppet Master Franchise. Not just Puppet Master, but the franchise. And I was like, you know what? I've never talked about Puppet Master in depth on my channel, but I've been watching those movies since I was a kid. This needs to happen. So thank you.
I'm so excited that you watched them when you were a kid too, because obviously I watched them when I was young, probably too young, and love them. So I'm so excited you chose it.
So the Puppet Master franchise, for anyone watching this who doesn't know, is from Full Moon, which is makes B movies and direct-to-video franchise. And what are they up to now? There's like 12 of these things, maybe.
Puppet Master movies in general, there are, I think, 14.
Is that including the crossovers where it's Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of Puppet Master movies. I guess people like them. There's a demand, right? There must be.
Exactly, yeah. And when I watched them as a kid, I got out of horror movies around like 2003. So I think there were only up to 7 or 8 by then. I remember watching up to Retro Puppet Master. It was before that like Axis trilogy, which I still have never seen. But yeah, no.
Yeah, I haven't seen them either. I mean, my favorite ones are 3, 4, and 5, especially 4 and 5. Like, I used to watch them over and over when I was a kid.
It's so funny that those are your favorites. I have thought.
Well, they're kind of like, I mean, the puppets are kind of like good guys, which is probably why I liked them when I was little. And I don't know, it kind of has like a Power Ranger vibe. Like, you know, it's just not as violent, I suppose, as the earlier films.
I think you were told, because I told the middleman here in this conversation that, like, I'll only have time to watch the first one and not the whole series. But what I did instead was I was like, okay, I've seen that first one kind of recently, like a year or two ago. So what I did was I started.
Let me see. When the first one came out, 1989. Like I was just say when the first one came out, yeah, 1989. I figured it was like to be. I figured the first one had to be the 80s.
Started with the second, and I just put them on my second monitor while playing Sea of Thieves. So they're background, but like I've seen them before. And I ended up watching 2, 3, 4, 5, Curse, and Retro. So I've
Wow.
But then here's the other thing.
Okay.
I forgot to rewatch the original, so I'm more rusty on the first movie than I am on 2 through 7 right now. But that's okay. They're fucking puppet masters.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, and I'm not going to knock the first one because look at it, it launched the franchise, right? However, it is not my favorite. I watched it recently again, actually. I've watched it a couple times in the last year, and it's very strange.
It's fucking weird.
It's a weird movie, like the psychics, and like there's a lot of sex, which is fine. But I remember, like, I liked it when I was a kid, and I watching it as an adult, I was like, why did I like this movie? It's bizarre.
Yeah, same thing, because I loved it as a kid, and I don't know if I just like imagined more puppets in it than there are.
100%. Yes.
Because they're not.
They're not in it a whole lot.
It's mostly the psychics.
Right. And 2, I don't love 2 because Toulon is so mean.
He is.
He's mean, and he, in my opinion, he loves his puppets. Like, it's pretty obvious in the first film he loves them, and especially in 3. And he's so nasty to them in 2. And I'm like, no, I'm not about that. I feel like that, no. So I don't love 2. But I personally believe he loves his puppets.
Yeah, because like you said, opening scene of the first one, it's 1939 in Bodega Bay, and he's like applying, he's painting Jester, who's one of my favorites, and he's putting him away, and he's he's a kindly old man.
Yes, and there seems to be love and connection in there. And then obviously, you find out eventually that the souls of some of the people that he knew are in the puppets. So it makes sense that he cares for them. So number 2, I was very thrown off by it. And I mean, I love that Torch is one of the puppets in 2, and I feel like that's the best thing that came out of that one.
Torch fucking kills a kid.
Oh, I know.
He lights a kid on fire. It's like, holy shit.
Oh, wow.
He's probably the most aggressive, I would say, out of all the puppets, right? Like he's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But he's very cool.
Yeah, but it is such an interesting franchise because you're right. The first one and the second one, to an extent, are so weird and not really what you think of when you think of Puppet Master.
What the
If
hell?
you've seen a bunch of these movies, you're probably thinking of the
didn't
later
watch
ones
them.
where the puppets are running around doing puppet things, as opposed to the first one where it's a very slow movie. I agree. How did we like this as kids when it's just these middle-aged psychics in an abandoned hotel? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I honestly, I think we just like the puppets. The puppets are cool. Like, Blade is awesome. Like, you see Blade and it's like, oh my god, he's so cool. And Tunnler was my favorite when I was a kid.
My favorite too, yeah. I was going to ask. That was my next question, was like, who's your favorite puppet?
Yeah, I like definitely Tunnler. As a kid, it was Tunnler. Now I like Blade a little bit more. I think he's pretty cool.
His aesthetic is pretty cool,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Oh my god, can we for a second, and number 1, talk about Leech Woman?
Yeah.
I mean, that, when she gets on the bed in one of the scenes and
Whoa.
and the guy is tied up and they were doing some, frisky business, and she starts like throwing up these leeches. It is disgusting.
It's real gross. It's also one of the most questionable ways to kill someone I've ever heard of. All right, what we're gonna do is just slowly hack up leeches on you, and I guess they'll bleed you to death.
They're very aggressive leeches.
They're very large.
I feel like whoever came up with that really just wanted to do that effect because it is very cool. Like, it is.
It's a crazy-
I love it. I
it's
think
cool
that's the best part of
effects.
the Pupmaster
Ooh.
movies is the effects and the stop motion and the actual puppets themselves. The way that they're, that they actually mechanically work and things like that, and all the people behind the scenes making them work. And obviously, you don't appreciate that as a kid, but now rewatching them, I feel like they've retconned the story a little bit. Especially, there's a timeline change from 1 to 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in that first scene in the first one, it says 1939 and he kills himself. And then in part 3, which is one of your favorites, takes place during World War II, and he's running around, running from the Nazis in, I think, 41 maybe. Yeah, the franchise, it's not very accurate in its continuity, but I was surprised by how much it tries to be continuous. Like, they're not ignoring the previous films, they're acknowledging them, just doing it poorly sometimes.
I agree, and I think having a prequel like Part 3 really helped the franchise. I think it helped you understand.
Hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's keep going with the Puppet Master.
understand where everybody was coming from, where the puppets came from, and obviously what Toulon's goal was and what he was doing. Like, I think it definitely helped everything else, even if it wasn't perfectly the right year.
Yeah, 3 is such a tonal shift too, because those first 2, very strange, very supernatural, and then 3 is like a war movie. Like, there's a lot of stuff with Nazis and hiding from them, and the puppets are made good guys because Toulon is running from Nazis. Like, they're kind of neutral in the first 2, but in the third and, like you said, the 4th and 5th, they're definitely more on the protagonist side, which is understandable why you would be drawn towards those.
Yeah, especially as a kid.
So one of the rare time where the puppet characters were tweeners were faces when they started tweeners.
And obviously, like, I'm like 4 and 5 are, I don't know, they're like, you know, like they're like a warm blanket, you know, like, you're like comfort movies. A lot of horror for me is like comforting,
For sure.
but those movies specifically are very comforting movies.
Yeah, 4 and 5 really get into the Egyptian side of the curse, and what are like the beings who are mad at Toulon who has stolen their secrets?
The little totems.
Yeah.
The totems. Yeah, the little demon dudes.
Yeah, I had it on, and I was like, I don't remember these other little guys running around. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And the guy, I can't, I'm blanking on his name, but the main big bad.
Is it like Sutek or something like that?
He's like the big bad in that, and he sends those little totems after that. It's pretty wild, and then you kind of see the puppets against the little totems, which is kind of cool because as a kid, I think that's pretty neat that they're fighting these like little demon dudes.
Yeah, that was my favorite part about Puppet Master and other early full moon features is the weird special effects that were all done practically. I am definitely not as interested in the later ones that came out like post, I don't know, mid 2000s, where I think there's a lot more reliance on CG to animate everything. And it just like, it's during that era where like now we're getting to a point where CG can look really good, but at first, not so much.
Right.
And it wasn't as fun to watch as like stop motion.
Yeah, and I think in general for me, like I personally prefer practical effects in horror. Obviously, I think there's a place for CG, obviously.
Oh, for sure.
It works for sure. But I mean, I love more 80s horror, and I love practical effects, and I especially like stop motion. Like another, I guess, doll movie is Dolls. I love Dolls.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like, it's very, very Puppet Master-esque. Toulon, the actor that plays Toulon, is in Dolls. He's a character in the movie Dolls.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, nice. I only saw Dolls recently, and I had it on while working out, so it was kind of like another background movie.
It's so fun. It's another like fun, you know, it's not overly scary, but it's a good one for sure.
Yeah, and that's also by Charles Band. That might have been right before Full Moon when he was still Empire Films. And those are another like set of movies I really like. Reanimator is one of my all-time favorites.
Such a good movie. Oh, it's so great. Yeah.
Yeah, and the composer for that was the same composer for Puppet Master, Richard Band, Charles's brother. You can kind of hear some of the Reanimator theme make its way into the Puppet Master music, but that Puppet Master theme, they play it nonstop, but I never get sick of it. I love it.
I love it. I want the vinyl so bad. I really want the vinyl. I've slowly been collecting horror vinyls.
I got a friend who's like down. I have a friend who's down like getting vinyls for like soundtracks or video games. It's like the actual vinyls for that. It's crazy.
I just found Alien, like the original Alien soundtrack on vinyl at like a thrift store somewhere, and I really want to get the Puppet Master because it's so great. It's such a great soundtrack. Like, it's that specific song.
Yeah,
that is
the
like
main
the
theme.
classic Puppet Master theme. Love it.
Yeah, while I was watching all these movies, you know, the credits would hit, and in most cases, I'd be like, all right, turn it off, on to the next one. But they always play the song over the credits, so I just let the credits roll out, man. Whatever.
Yeah,
it's just I'll listen to that song.
Out.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, and also speaking of Puppet Masters, I feel like I do need to talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
So when I was little, obviously loved the movies, and after the movies, like on VHS, there would be like an after credit sort of thing, and I think it was called Video Zone. I want to say it was called Video Zone, or there was something called Video Zone where they would do like a behind the scenes thing, and you would kind of get to see up and coming full moon features, things like that. One specifically, they were releasing Puppet Master models. Like kits,
like to make your own or like put together.
Yeah, like,
wow.
like they were like these. I guess that they would basically make them and then maybe you paint them.
Sure.
I could be misremembering this. I was probably 8 or 9.
I believe her because there's always like I remember like that was the cool thing about stuff of the old school stuff. Though it's like the way it just they'll tease you if you didn't have unless you had money and tease you with getting stuff like that was models of movie gear or pieces from the movie and stuff like that. They'll sell and all that though. Probably cost a grip, but still, I remember seeing stuff like that and I was like daydreaming about getting something from a movie, having my own and then playing with it and all that. But yeah, I can believe her when she says stuff like that. That's probably for real.
I remember calling this number that was on the back of VHS and never being able to reach anyone and just being devastated. You know,
no. Yeah.
The 8 or 9 year old in me was like, oh, like so sad. So recently, I had it in my head that I wanted to find these models, which at the time I thought were statues. I didn't know 100%. Well, I had casually mentioned it on my YouTube. I have like a YouTube blog, and I had casually mentioned it. Like, I want to find these things. And people in the comments were like, oh no, those exist. And I was like, oh, so I did a little digging. Unfortunately, the original models that came out in 1990 are almost impossible to find.
I bet.
Very rare.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still gonna look for them.
Just in case.
But I did find that they came out with statues of our main puppets back in, I think, 2005, 2006. They did a limited run of them, limited quantity. And I ended up digging and searching, and I found all 4 of them.
Wow.
And I was so excited. It was like a huge moment to collect all 4 of them.
So you said there's 4 of them. Let me guess. Blade, obviously.
Yes.
I know that you said no Leech Woman. She always gets neglected. Pinhead, probably.
Yep.
Tunneler.
Yep.
And then the 4th one, I'm guessing, is Jester.
Oh.
No, Jester always was kind of like a B tier, like a mid-carder.
I do love Jester.
I love because he seemed like the nicest, you know?
Yeah, and very emotional. He's an emotional guy.
Then maybe Torch.
No.
Oh God, is it 6-shooter?
Yeah.
Man,
Shooter.
I'm gonna be real. I hate 6-shooter because the noises he makes are so fucking annoying. He's like, hey, 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 hey,
He's very creepy. He's creepy. He's
Yeah.
creepy. But look how cute he is.
He's kind of cute, I guess. Yeah.
Adorable. And look at you, got him right there. How could you hate him?
He's also way too big compared to the why did they make him
he's
so
very
big?
large. Yeah, he's large. He's large.
But yeah, I'm like sitting there with the movies on in the background and I'm just playing games. I'm like, what is that fucking noise? And I look over and 6-shooter's just like, I'm like, shut the fuck up, man.
Okay, but do you know that is Charles Band's father? That voices that is like laughing.
Wow.
I had no idea. No.
I don't love that even more, that it's so terribly annoying. But yeah, it's his dad. I love it.
Wow, nice. Good. Hit me with the fun facts. I didn't even know that. I bet that's in this book that came out recently. Nat Bremer did like this whole series of the Puppet Master. So I want to read that, like a whole breakdown
actually,
of it.
I have it on my Kindle. I haven't started it yet. Yeah, but I got it on Kindle.
Awesome.
Yeah.
My wife tweeted a picture of that when I bought it, and Nat like saw it and was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you guys!" Like, yeah, dude, you wrote a book about Puppet Master. Of course, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, it's so cool. I'm sorry, I keep looking at your toys because I have to collect them. I told myself I wasn't going to once I got the statues. I was like, okay, you got the statues, I got the NECA toys, I got bobbleheads, I got too much stuff. And I went, I don't need anything else. And then I just was like, God, I gotta get the puppets. I have to.
They're very
have to get them.
expensive, but obviously very
Yeah.
large. So you know.
Yeah. It is an expensive hobby.
It is. I too started with the bobbleheads of I think Blade and Torch.
Yes.
I think Blade fell down and got broke, or one of them fell and got broken. I think Torch, unfortunately. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll just get the big puppets.
Might as well just buy all of them.
Yeah, right. I mean, for me, it's a fucking business write-off because it's like, you know, they'll be in video, so whatever.
Yeah.
That helps justify it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's
Do you have that Blu-ray set that comes in the Toulon like puppet case?
I keep putting it in and out of my cart. I keep putting it in and out of my cart, and I keep trying to justify why I deserve to buy it. Like, I know that sounds terrible, but I'm like, I'll put it in the cart and I'll be like, okay, we're gonna get it. And then I'll be like, God, that's a lot of money for a bunch of DVDs. You know what I mean? But it is really cool. Yeah. Like, I love that it's in the case. Like, and actually, I forget who I was talking to, but I wish they had like an actual,
like the full-size trunk.
Yeah, wouldn't that be so cool?
That'd be nuts. That'd be very expensive.
Yeah, but amazing, especially if you had the puppets to go in it.
Oh yeah. If I could like store these guys in there, I'd be set, man.
Oh, that would be so cool. And you could do a whole video on it, which means it would be a write-off.
Exactly.
Exactly. Am I convincing myself?
I think so. Hey, you know what? You know what the justification is? You only live once, Allie.
That's
so
right. That's right.
It's your money to spend on it.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
I have mine on my bookshelf, and it like opens up, and it's got the 2 little windows. And in one, I have a Blade figure, and in the other, I've kept since it happened. When my channel hit 1 million subscribers, we popped champagne, and the cork, I like wrote the date on it, and that sits in the Andre
Nice.
Toulon
Love
case.
that. That's awesome. Well, now you know what? I'm gonna have to buy it. I think you've convinced me.
Do I get a commission, Full Moon?
Yeah, right.
Come on, Charlie.
That's all. I mean, I feel like when we were discussing or we were trying to figure out what movie to do, and we were deciding, the liaison between AEW and you had mentioned that you'd never saw a Puppet Master, or you weren't familiar with the full franchise, or whatever. So I'm very surprised to see that you have all of the puppets, and you have the case, and you have the book. I'm like, I feel like you're a pretty big fan of the franchise.
I was really into it as a kid. I think it's kind of become a running joke on my channel in that I haven't covered it on my main show, The Kill Count, and I'll bring it up on occasion, like when I covered Tourist Trap. That was by the same director, David Schmoller, who did the first Puppet Master.
Oh, wow.
And I really love Tourist Trap. It's one of those weird late 70s slashers.
Right,
and
right.
So I mentioned Puppet Master, and whenever I bring it up, I'm like, but that's got like 12 movies, so I can't cover it. And people are like, but you covered Friday the 13th, and how? And I'm like, yeah, but those were theatrical big boy movies. Those are real movies.
Right,
like, you
right.
haven't seen Puppet Master 8. Please don't question it. But eventually I do want to cover it because I hold a special reference, especially.
Well, you can do like you did with your Hellraisers. Just do the first 4 Hellraisers. Just do the first 5 Puppet Masters and call it a day, man.
Thanks to you, rewatching 2 through 7, I was like, yeah, there's a reason I like these stupid ass movies. Like, they're just fun and easy, and like you said, warm and cozy.
They are, and I feel like, you love horror. I'm sure there are certain horror movies that just feel so comforting to rewatch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and hearing the music just brings me back to being a kid.
Yeah.
And that like nostalgia, and it is like warm and cozy, it really is. And recently I saw the new Scream, and I know very mixed reviews on that. I personally enjoyed it, but
I loved it.
It brought me back. Like I loved it. I loved like the callbacks to everything. And I saw it with my husband, and I kept looking over at my husband during it, like, are you do you see?
In case you're not familiar, the Blade is her actual husband.
You know what that's from? You know what I mean? I was so excited because it really brought me back to being a kid.
Yeah, Scream is like the ultimate cozy nostalgia for me because it's the movie that got me into horror movies, the original. And I do think that this requel, as they say, does a great job of finding that tone and just like really feeling like that first one.
Yeah, the tone. Yeah, 100%. And so, yeah, I feel like Puppet Master has that quality of just feeling like when you're not feeling good, or you're sick, or you're down in the dumps, like, throwing on Puppet Master. Well, the 3rd or 4th or 5th, not maybe not the first one, but
the thing about the 4th and 5th one that I found really interesting while watching is that they're like immediate back to back. Like the 5th one starts right where the 4th one left off with the same cast, which is very unusual for a 4th and 5th movie in a franchise.
Nice.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you, that blew my mind. Like, as an adult rewatching it, I remember at the end of 4, because I rewatched them recently, at the end of 4, I went, oh man, they're setting it up for this kid. This is great, but it's not gonna go anywhere, because there's gonna be another one that's gonna have nothing to do. You know what I mean? That's just what I assumed. Yeah. And then I go into the next one, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, we're picking up right where we left off. Like, and I thought it told a great story.
Yeah, it was fun. Especially that guy was in Friday the 13th Part 8 as like, he's just a random guy who, I don't know how familiar you are with Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, I was just talking about it with somebody yesterday.
Oh yeah, he had a bigger role that got cut down in the final edit, but he's like the main guy's friend, and he gets thrown off the top of the weather vane and gets like impaled on his side. That's the guy from Puppet Master 4 and 5.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah, because he popped up, and I was like, this guy looks familiar, because he's kind of got like a Paul Brother look. He's very blonde and like just like bright eyes, and I was like, why does he look so familiar? Yeah, it's the guy from friggin' Jason Takes Manhattan.
Wow. Oh my God, I had no idea. I mean, can you imagine being a Puppet Master? Like, I would drop everything. I'd be like, oh yeah, sign me up. No problem. What do you need me to do? How am I dying?
Yeah.
Who's killing me?
I mean, that's the thing. You want to get killed.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, then what's the point? You don't want to be a final girl in a Puppet Master movie. Like, you want to die a cool way.
For sure.
It'd be awesome.
Would you get leeches put on you if they were like, all right, you're going to be Leech Woman scale, and because it's 2022, we're going to use real leeches? Would you do it to be in a Puppet Master?
As long as they were treating treating the leeches well, and they
Okay.
were like well cared for, and I knew that they were going to be okay at the end of it. Yes, I would do it.
I was gonna say, you're sitting here cringing over leeches. I have seen some of the matches you've
Yes,
been in, Allie. You have
exactly.
been covered in blood. You have just put your
Yep.
body through so much more than a
That match
leech
was
getting
wild.
put on it in a controlled film set.
I worry more about the leech than I do about myself. I don't
Okay.
want anything to happen to it.
No,
you
that's
know?
fair. That's fair.
Especially like animals or bugs in movies. And speaking of animals and bugs, so I do have something to say. People that argue that the puppets are not scary, sorry, we're circling back here, but I feel like this is an important point.
Please.
The people that say that the puppets aren't scary, or that it's silly, or like doll movies are silly because I would just kick it. I would just do this. Okay, so let me ask you something. If a big fat spider the size of like a bird came strolling into your house, you're telling me that you would just so casually just kick it? No, you would run. You would run for the hills. There's no way that you wouldn't be scared. And that's what I compare being afraid of the puppets. It would be so shocking that I don't think that you would be like, oh, I'm just gonna fight this thing. You'd be like, oh, what the? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think that is one of the most convincing arguments I've heard against that.
I
point. Because
kinda
I'll
agree on
admit,
that one.
watching some of these movies, there were times where I'm like, just fucking pick it up and throw it. It's,
Right.
it's a puppet.
These moments, ah!
Yeah.
Ah! Like, girl, get up! Come on!
She's like looking under the bed for a full 5 minutes as Tunneler's running at her face. Yeah.
Little tiny feet. Epic kill though. Epic kill.
Yeah, it's so good.
You'd be in shock. You would be like,
That's fair.
what's coming at me? Oh my god! Why does he have giant hands and a tiny head? Oh, he's freakishly strong.
I know, those big old man hands on Pinhead. I love that aspect of it. It's so creepy.
Oh, he's great. Those are like that. Those were someone's actual hands in that. That's crazy. Like that's insane to me. I said this earlier, but the puppeteers that were actually working the puppets, I mean, that is incredible to me. And the actors that were working alongside them, and especially the actor that played Toulon, who has to have this emotional connection with puppets and act alongside them. I saw like an interview with him where they asked him like, how is it working with puppets? And he so thoughtfully was like, well, it's my scene partner. Like I'm there, you know, it's like I'm acting with them. They're a person in a way, you know? And I just thought that was so like thoughtful and like, yeah, it makes sense. Like it's tricky. Acting as it is hard. Imagine having to act alongside a puppet where there's like 20 people behind you, like moving it around.
Yeah, and you can't like look at them. You've got to act with the puppet.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also thought, you know, during these rewatches, I was like, oh, that's the same guy playing Toulon in what, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, maybe? Like Guy Rolfe,
Yeah.
I think his name is.
Yes. Yeah.
Very elderly gentleman who like was an actor before, and then at the end of his career was like, yeah, I'll do a bunch of puppet movies, sure. And he gives it his all. He takes it seriously.
No, he really does. And when I saw that interview with him where he talked about it, it just made me respect him so much because he clearly cares. I don't know, like I get annoyed.
Look it up. What other stuff he been on other than Pupmaster? I feel like I seen more stuff. But funny, he actually been on. He's actually on Dolls. They did said that he's on Dolls. Okay, wow. Yeah, they did say he was on Dolls as well too. Interesting. So yeah.
When people write off movies like
I feel like he's been
Pupmaster,
on
like
stuff.
they're silly or they're this or they're that, when it's like obviously time and care goes into making them, which I feel that way about I'm no critic, you know, I have a really terrible time critiquing film and movies, especially horror movies, because I love them so much. But I feel like so much work goes into crafting them, and so I get really annoyed when people just write things off like, oh, it's just silly. They're just directed to VHS. Who cares? And it's like, well, no, they're some of them are really great and they're really fun and a lot of thought went into them.
Yeah, like a lot of hours of work from many different people in many different fields contributed to making this happen. So for sure, I always look at things like that.
Yeah.
All right, so past 3, 4, 5. Do you have any thoughts on the other Puppet Masters? Because 6 is Curse of Puppet Master. That's with the tank, like the almost farm boy, the big like almost simpleton
Farm
guy
boy.
who gets hired by the scientist with the daughter.
Yes.
That one was fine.
It's fine. Yeah, it's not very memorable because I don't remember a lot of it. The later ones, like I remember seeing some of them, but I am not well versed in them.
And then there was recently, a few years ago, they did like kind of a reboot. Did you manage to catch that one?
I did not see it. I was kind of nervous to see it. Have you seen it?
I've seen it once because Barbara Crampton's in it.
Yes,
Wow.
I did hear that. Yes.
I don't think it was made by necessarily the same people, because I remember when I was buying the Blu-ray set, it was at a convention. I was talking to the Full Moon people, and I was like, "Oh, is that new remake going to be in this?" And they're like, "No, that's not us." I was like, "Wait, what?" So there might be a difference in the creative teams behind it. Allie, you're probably not going to like this new one because the puppets, they're bad guys in it.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think here's what it is. I've only seen it once, so I may be wrong on this, but if memory serves me correctly, I think the puppets are Nazis in the new one. Like, they're not fighting the Nazis, they're fighting with the Nazis, and there is some heinous shit in there. It is very gory, but maybe a step too far. I think they, like, kill a pregnant chick or something. Like, it goes nuts.
I have like when it comes to like reboots, I don't know. I get a little in my feels about it. I get a little sensitive about the reboots. You know, like
Almost bad as something like as bad as that. Not bad, but like crazy as that Halloween remake with Rob Zombie. His kills was a little too brutal, man. I mean, Halloween had some brutal kills, but his was too damn brutal. And I feel like the direct sequel and kind of piggyback off it because the kills on there was kind of brutal as well too. And to be honest, when the Halloween return and the Halloween kills, it was kind of brutal in there too.
I heard recently that they were rebooting Clue, which is my favorite movie of all time. And
That's your favorite? Oh, cool.
Favorite movie of all time. It's my comfort movie. I love it so much. When I heard they were rebooting it, I was like, you're never gonna top it because it's the best. The cast is incredible. It was a fantastic film. Why even bother rebooting it? Okay, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I didn't see the new Puppet Master because for the same kind of feeling. Like I don't think that I would love it. The only argument I would have to why they'd be alongside the Nazis is if the Nazis were controlling them, because they do talk a little bit about, or they touch on in some of the films, or maybe it's the comics, that whoever is sort of in charge of the puppets, they will.
I love that you just referenced the Puppet Master comics as though it were common knowledge. You're like, oh yeah, maybe it's in the comics.
I mean, it happens because a lot of people talking about how like a lot of comic stuff is canon. It'd be like canon with the like reboots or recent stuff as well too. Whether it's movies or video games and stuff like that. That's why I was like unfamiliar with certain characters and like certain stuff. I watched in the past and then watched the reboot or the remake and stuff like that as well too. So yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much.
They touch on like that whoever is sort of in control of them, because in the first one, Neil, our heel, our reanimated jerk,
Neil, yeah.
Yeah, he's controlling them, and that's why they're assholes in it. But then at the end, when Neil is like, I don't need you guys, and he like throws Tunneler, he throws one of them.
It's Jester, the most defenseless of them all, right? All he can do is spin his face around. Like he's the mayor in Nightmare Before Christmas.
He's just feeling all the feels, you know, trying to warn everybody. Then they obviously turn on Neil. So I guess the argument would be that maybe the Nazis, and wasn't too long trying to avoid the Nazis. He didn't want the Nazis to get the stuff to then use it against, well, they're Nazis, so they're gonna do awful things with it. So I guess maybe that's what happened. But I never saw it, so I could just be speaking out of my ass here. I don't know.
I mean, I was similarly, because I've only seen the once and I can't really remember it. But I'll have to do a rewatch, and eventually I'll have to watch the act.
Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. SmackDown Great come on right now. It's
Axis of Blank trilogy of Puppet Masters, just to see what they're like. I've heard they're not good.
Are they in that box set that you have?
They are. Those three are. So okay. I'm looking at them right now. The still saran wrapped Blu-rays that I've never opened or watched. But one day I'll get to them.
Here we go. Stump James now. He's been pretty good.
All right, when I talk to people about their favorite horror movies, I like to see if they can stump me with trivia questions about them. So, I know your face, like, because you thought that I didn't know Puppet Master. You didn't know I was a Puppet Master freak.
Yeah, so I wouldn't really either. I wrote them down, okay? I wrote down the questions. Now I feel like...
Well, do they have to do with the first movie?
They have to do with kind of everything.
Okay, that's fine.
Look, you know what? Maybe we'll get them all right, and then we can both high-five each other because we're both big fans of the franchise, and we're both winning.
There's no losing, yeah.
That's right. We're both winning. Okay. Okay, are you ready?
All right.
Okay. Which puppet or puppets have been in every single film.
Okay. Are you including the movies that you said you're not too familiar with, like those later ones? Like, did you
Literally all of them.
Okay. Definitely Blade. If we're counting retro Blade in the retro Puppet Master, because I think when retro, there's like the cycle, but there's the retro versions of them.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay,
Blade.
so-
Yes, Blade is correct.
Blade. Damn, you're not even telling me the number of puppets that I have to. It's an open-ended question. Damn.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I could. I'm just gonna put this out there. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But I'm
okay.
pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure. And if anyone listening, watch, you're probably gonna get people in the comments being like, "No, actually,"
Yeah.
and I'll be like, "You're right." But there's one more.
Okay.
There's one more puppet that I'm 85% sure is in all of them.
My guess would be Pinhead.
Yes.
Pinhead.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Great job.
I mean, he is the second most famous Pinhead in all of horror, so
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Why would they name a character Pinhead after Hellraiser? I don't know. I guess it was just 1 year after. Maybe they didn't know.
Yeah, maybe they didn't know. And he does have a really tiny head. I mean, I think it makes sense for him. Look at him. Look at these big old hands and this tiny head.
I like your little statues that you got. Those are cool.
Nice.
I love them.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Oh, okay. Which of the puppets have the souls of Toulon's friends? Or, yeah, let's just say friends. We'll say friends.
I think you were alluding to how Leech Woman has Elsa, his love of his life, and his yeah. Okay.
Which was a question that I'm no longer going to be asking you. So, which of the puppets have the souls of his friends or people that he knows?
Okay. Blade, I think he mentions as like having a friend name. I think Tunneler. Okay. Pinhead, pretty sure. Okay. And maybe not Jester? Yeah. And there's anticipation.
I know, I'm mixed. I'm like, do you know? I'm so excited.
Isn't Toulon himself in Six Shooter or no? No, that doesn't make sense because he made Six Shoot. I don't know. Those are my answers. What I miss?
Okay, you're so close. So I thought you were gonna say because Toulon he's not a puppet, but
He's like
in 4 and
Omega.
5. What is his name in 4 and 5? The dude that and he kind of his head shows up and he's a puppet and his head shows up.
Yeah, his head, like, it's a very strange effect that they do multiple times, and I'm like, I guess they thought it looked good. His like head forms into the weird puppet thing.
I forget what the name is. I can't remember, but Six Shooter actually has the soul of one of his friends. So you were so close. You were like you almost conjoined them together.
Yeah. Okay.
So that
All
was
right.
good. So I feel like I did stump you on that one. Just
Okay. All right.
all right.
I didn't have the complete answer. That's fair.
I can't ask you the other question because you already know the answers to both these questions that I came up with because they're way too easy.
Was it Elsa as Leech Woman?
Yes.
Okay.
And the other one was to name all of the puppets, which I feel like you know all of them.
Well, I don't know, because they get weird. Also, you know what one I would have forgotten had I not just been reviewing some things right before this? In the very first scene of that first movie, there's a puppet named Khan.
Yeah, Colin,
Wow.
he sits on the ledge and he basically warns.
Yeah,
Toulon
what the
that
hell
Nazis are
happened to
coming.
that guy?
I don't know. Apparently, he does show up as like Easter eggs. In I want to say maybe it's in he shows up in the background of one
Axis.
of them, but he's not part of the film. Like he's just
It's
an
so
Easter
weird that
egg.
he's one of the first puppets you see, and he like interacts with Toulon, and then he just disappears for the rest of the franchise.
I wonder there must be a reason for that. I feel like there's got to be an actual like behind the scenes reason for
Yeah,
that.
maybe
Probably.
someone lost the puppet after filming that scene. It was like, ugh.
You're like, well, yeah, I guess we're not gonna use him. And I want to say he's in the comics or he's
I'm
referenced.
sure he is. Yeah,
Won't be
those
surprised.
comics they can do anything.
I didn't include him in the main puppets when I was thinking.
Did you include Cyclops? Because he's in like retro Puppet Master, I think, hanging out.
Yeah, but I feel like he's not considered our main.
No.
Like I was thinking our main lineup of puppets, but you clearly have them all.
I got him.
So,
So I'll give myself that point. Yeah.
because I only stumped you on one of them.
Okay. That's fine.
You're like, how do you know everything? God. I'm
Well,
like,
it is my
oh.
job. So.
You know, I was going to write, like, I was thinking, like, I'm gonna write some really hard questions, and I'm gonna.
That's what you get for taking it easy on me.
I guess I was trying to be nice, you know.
You should have underestimated me. Well, Allie, it was a pleasure to sit here and talk for this long about Puppet
Right.
Master, which is something I don't get to do with everyone. You know, not everyone
Yeah.
can sit here and talk about Puppet Master.
Well, listen, I talk about it constantly with my husband. I haven't shut up about these statues that I've been on the hunt for weeks.
Have you made him watch the movies?
Yeah, but he likes them. He's
Oh,
into
okay.
it. Like
Oh,
he just said to
Shout
me
out
last
to
night
Blade.
that he wants to rewatch 4 and 5 because he doesn't really remember them. But he loves horror, both of us. Like that's the one genre of film that we both agree on.
Nice.
So we just constantly watch horror movies. But all I've been talking about is these Puppet Master statues and hunting them down. And when I finally came in, I was crying, and
Oh.
he's looking at me like, "Oh, okay, this must be really important."
Right.
You know? But I can talk horror all day long. It's next to wrestling. I think it's my favorite thing.
Those fans have a lot of overlap, I have learned.
They do, and I'm so excited because the more that I talk about my obsession with it, the more I see people are connecting with that. And
Nice.
like, oh, we love it too. What movies do you like? And
Well,
the horror fan base is
Can't knock the fans sometimes. If you're a fan of something that they're a fan of, it's going to be a good connection right there. Hopefully, it's a good one because fans can be toxic too and crazy.
like wrestling. It's the best fan base. I love it. Everybody's like just supportive and encouraging, and there's not gatekeeping. Like it's very like, oh, I like this. Oh, you like this. You know, I don't know. It's such a great community. Love it.
That's been my experience as well. All right, well, thank you so much again for the conversation. It was a pleasure, and we'll probably talk another time about other horror movies because clearly you know your shit, and I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I would love it.
I can't wait till somebody do Nightmare on Street. That'd be awesome though. But this was pretty good. This finishes it up. Like I said, you got me kind of interested in to check out the Puppet Master movie on my own though. Like I say, I don't think I saw one, but this definitely got me curious to watch some. But other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share. Of course, I gotta watch it on my own. 'Cause I told you my wife don't like horror movies like that. But I will try to check some out though. So yeah, we are doing about Ali. We're done with Bunny / Ali. I think we have two more wrestlers left to add on there. There as well too. But other than that, if you like more, I might actually stop after I do to finish all the wrestlers. But other than that, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bear signing off. And what's your favorite scary movie? One love.